Namaste and welcome to Meet the Luminaries at Satya School. Today I have with me Mr. Rakesh Bharti Mittal, one of the leading industrialists of India. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us.
Thank you.
My name is Arthi Garg.
And I am Zahra Kadri.
I am Kenisha Singh and I am Archie Kohli.
Today we are here to do a podcast with sir. Archie, you want to start?
Yes. Who has been your personal mentor in life and what key lessons did you learn from them that continues to guide you?
Well, I would say I was greatly influenced by my father. So he was an institution in himself while he was a politician all his life. But I think the value system, the way to lead life and the lessons which I learned from him are even as fresh as today, I can say that. And one of my early lessons which I had in life from him was when I finished my graduation and came into business. So he told me, he says, do the business as businessmen do, not as the son of a member of parliament. And I think that was my first lesson, which has stood the test of time. And there were many things which I picked up from him, which I learned from him. So he's greatly influenced my life.
Thank you, sir. And there has been a growing call and need for sustainability in all walks of life, especially for industries. How has that impacted Airtel and what are some measures that you have taken to move forward towards sustainability? Are there any specific changes with respect to the environment in the telecom industry?
So I would say, sustainability is something which is applicable to every citizen of India. It's just not the industry, it's just not the government. And to my mind, every person needs to make sure that they contribute positively. We are passing through, the times as we speak. This month starting November and goes up to January. The pollution levels goes up in Delhi, and it's one of the most polluted cities in the world. And clearly, it is multiple. Of course, there are multiple factors which contribute to that. But if every citizen, every person can take responsibility of not adding to the problem, rather reducing waste, looking at becoming more responsible. So at Airtel, for example, and Indus Towers, which is the tower company, we decided to make the tower sites which became genset free. Because when the generating sets are running, generators, you consume diesel, there is a lot of carbon footprint which gets added. And those sites have become green. So they are with grid power, solar, batteries, and almost about 50% sites, tower sites are green today. So that's one big contribution which Airtel and Indus Towers have made towards sustainability. And Airtel has committed itself to be a zero, carbon emission company as per the Sustainable Development Goals. So while sustainability is a word which should be not just good to hear or good to speak, but to my mind, this needs to be taken upon everyone to make sure that we don't add to problems. And I believe that this lead should come from the students, because we generally end up listening to our kids rather than listening to each other. So I always say the kids are the agents of change. So it is more incumbent on you. And of course, it is our responsibility to make sure that we leave an environment, we leave a country which is much better living for our our children and future generations.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. We'll surely note that down.
Sir, along the similar lines of the previous question, a couple of years ago in India, the 5G networks were being launched. At that point in time, there was a lot of media frenzy around there being, it having some side effects. It might be harmful for children, people.
No, it is just not 5G. It was basically the mobile telephone services, because it sort of microwave carries signal, line of sight, and there has been a lot of misrepresentation. And very, in a way, I would say, wrong information being fed. So first of all, let me tell you that the radiation levels in India, per law, as per rules and regulations, is 1/10 of the world. So if a site globally is radiating 100, in India you can't go beyond 10. There are heavy penalties, and more importantly, I think the telcos and Airtel, being a responsible corporate citizen, we ensure that all those the telecom towers, all the microwaves which are emitting power and radiating and sending the signals, they are at those levels. So clearly, it's a misrepresentation and misinformation which is floating in everyone's mind. We actually forget, when you fly to London, you are in a plane for 9.5 hours. The plane radiates. The equipment, the microwave, the heaters, the equipment. So you are cooked in a plane for 9.5 hours. Has anyone stopped flying? The answer is no. At home, every remote control device is radiating, right? So have we stopped using them? The answer is no. So therefore, first of all, this is something which is absolutely wrong by saying that there are side effects and there are medical problems. My own home, I have a telecom tower on my roof. So it's yeah, absolutely. And what we also need to really understand here is that mobile telephony has changed lives, has impacted people in a very, very positive way. I mean, God forbid if there's an accident on an expressway, how do you get help? It's a mobile phone which comes into play. When you are working, away from your kith and kin in different parts of the country, how do you get connected? It's telephony, and the majority is mobile. When you look at the daily wagers, a carpenter, an electrician, the days earlier he would, go assigned a task, finish, he would come back to the shop, take another task and go. Today they only give you your mobile number, their mobile number. So in a day, they can accomplish much more, and they can have a higher income and support their families. So this is all
definitely, sir, I agree.
Needs to be just thrown out, actually.
Because, sir, it did feel at the time that there's a lot of lobbying and media frenzy going on, but eventually there was...
If you see even the Department of Telecom and the telecom companies, they've gone trying, full-page advertisements coming in the newspapers, clearly saying that this is what it is.
Yes,
and but it's human nature. So, you generally just keep on harping on the issue for no reason.
I will agree, sir. Kenisha, you want to move forward?
Yes. How were the early days of Bharti Enterprises like when you were manufacturing bicycles? Tell us how your journey of entrepreneurship started.
Well, I would say, this journey of entrepreneurship is a story of three brothers, Bharti brothers. So it's me, Sunil and Rajan. And we are first generation entrepreneurs. Of course, we were into small businesses in the very beginning. But that was something which was making us restless. And clearly, we were looking for newer opportunities. And so bicycle parts, textiles, combing, spinning. So those were the small businesses which Ludhiana is known for. And we sort of broke away from that and started looking at opportunities which came our way, starting from importing portable generator sets. You haven't seen the power cut problems. There was a time when 16, 18 hours there used to be no power. And so we imported gensets. Then the import got banned because 2-3 companies got licensed to manufacture, and we started looking for a new business. And that's the time when we brought in the push button telephone in the early 80s. And then came the opportunity of manufacturing telecom equipment, and telephones was one part of that, where the letter of intents were given to about 50 plus companies, and we started venturing into manufacturing the push button telephones under the brand Beetle. And that's continued for a couple of years. We brought in the first telephone answering machine into the country, cordless telephones, and the like, which we call the consumer premises equipment, CPEs, what you use at the office or at home. And then came the big opportunity of mobile telephone licenses, which were thrown open to 8 licenses in 4 metros, and we got Delhi. And so that is a time when we started moving up on the journey of telecom and providing telecom services. So 95, and today we are looking at 2024. So Airtel is the second largest in the world by subscribers. In India, we are the second largest by revenue market share. We are present in 16-17 countries, Africa, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and India. So I can only say that this journey has been very, very rewarding. Great learnings, clearly from putting up a passionate group of leaders at Airtel and across our Bharti different ventures, and clearly fully empowered teams. And that has been the mantra, that we must have empowered leadership team. They must look at businesses in a way where it is ethical. So today Airtel is seen as one of the companies which has the highest form of corporate governance. So I would say, all in all, we started with small scale, and today Airtel is one of the leading companies in India.
Has there ever been a make or break moment in your experience as an entrepreneur, and how has that shaped your overall perspective on business and life in general?
Well, I would say, from the very beginning, we looked at business from a very different prism or a very different lens. And I recall, when and I'm sure you all would have also heard this saying, making a buck, right? And today's generation wants to make a quick buck. But when we three started looking into or getting into the business, we kept this in mind that it should be making a buck to make a huge positive change. And I think that is something which has been the mantra at Bharti. This is the DNA of Bharti. Profits don't drive us. Delivering high quality products, high quality services to our consumers, having leaders and people who work at Bharti, I mean they are part of the Bharti family. The passion with which they look at the various aspects of running, scaling up businesses, and almost, if I may say, delighting the customers, and that is something which has shaped our lives. So I would say, fully empowered teams, being transparent with all the stakeholders, and for me, when my teams succeed, that's my success. So first of all, it is their success because they put in hard work. They commit themselves into doing things in the rightful manner. And this is again, one thing which I learned from my father. Anything and everything which you start with a good intention, half of the job is done. The rest half, you have to work hard.
Yes.
Yes, well, then I would think that your mentality and this rationale is the reason why it has been there for so long and will continue to stay for so much longer time. So, right there.
Yeah, so lately there's this ongoing debate about what is more important for students, especially the ones that are our age. Is it higher marks, or is it like overall growth and being an all-rounder and everything? So what's your perspective on that?
So, I am very, very clear on this. Education is extremely important, without a doubt. Education without values and a value system has no meaning. I know parents put a lot of pressure on their kids to get higher marks because you want to go into good quality universities, higher educational institutions, or schools for that matter. But for me, overall development of a child is something which is paramount. And when I say overall development, academics is, of course, you can't wish that away. That's the most important part. But then co-curricular activities, sports, leadership skills, togetherness, team spirit, all these things make a man perfect. And once you have gone through the entire grind 360% with an overall development, with a huge value system, I can tell you that you will achieve much more and beyond what one can dream or aspire with the least of struggle. Good marks, higher marks certainly yes helps you in getting into good institutions, but then you need to be a human being. If you're not humane, what's the use of having just marks? And therefore I always say that if you can reach a situation or successful in life where you can go and help others, that is something which is one of the greatest service one can do, because you are chosen few by God to do that, and there are people who need help. And I always talk about this quote: the best exercise for the heart is to bend down, hold a hand, and uplift the person.
That's a wonderful quote, sir.
Yes.
Sir, so of course there's this education aspect to it. I'll also ask this same question in a different manner. As you being the head of such a huge conglomerate, one fine day, if you were to pick two candidates, one being a much more rounded person with having leadership skills, a bit of co-curricular, maybe a sports background, but an above average student, perhaps not the best of the best, not the creamiest of the less. And then you had a student and you had another candidate who did not have particularly a sports background or a co-curricular background, but they were the most creamiest player out there in terms of academics. So which candidate would you go for, sir?
So there are different sets of induction in any company. For example, Airtel every year inducts young leaders. We call it the YL program, which are picked up from the universities without any experience. And I think that is the time when we see, more importantly, how are you as a person? How will you be, gelling and working with the teams? How will you carry your teams when you are moving up the value chain? And similarly, when we hire people who are with experience, clearly then we need to see, one part is how have they been running businesses and which companies have they worked in, but more importantly, what differently will they do at Airtel? What will drive them to be part of the teams or lead the teams? So it really depends on at which position you are bringing in the person. But having said that, again, I can tell you every member of the Bharti family is passionate, is committed, and I think the amount of positive energy which flows is second to none, and that makes Airtel a company which is different than others.
So adding to that a little bit, how do you think schools and parents can help strike that right balance in a person?
Well, I think first of all, most of the times I see parents abrogating the responsibility by saying, we have sent the child to the school, it is your responsibility. Teachers by any stretch of imagination, you can call teacher, you can call them gurus, whatever we want to say, they are the ones who really shape our lives. My school, my university, I was blessed to have some very, very fine teachers who would go out of their way to make sure that even the weakest child in the class is given extra attention, extra care for him or her to sort of, come up to the level of other students. So to me, if I see in shaping up a child, there are three pillars: parents, without a doubt, teachers, and the society. If I see today, all three have failed in giving values and value system to their kids. We call them sanskar, we call them values, whatever word we use. In the previous days, when there used to be joint families, kids would unknowingly learn from the elders who are sitting in the angan. They will say one thing, one good thing, and you are picking up those. Similarly, parents are equal partners, because one, it is their child. I think that's the first and foremost thing. Yes, there are pressures in their lives, but they must give time to the family. That is very important, because when you sit, when you talk, you learn, you pick up good things and good habits. So to me, these three pillars of society are critical in shaping up any child. And that is one thing which I keep talking about, whether it is the Satya School, whether it is at the Mittal School, or even when you go into my village schools, the Satya Bharti schools, which Bharti Foundation runs. Value system is the core, and then everything on that keeps adding: academics, sports, co-curricular, public speaking. So I think, to me, everyone is a stakeholder. The kids themselves are also part of that, because how do you really, make the child learn if the child is unwilling to learn? And that comes from how do you see your parents, how do you see your teachers, how do you see the communities behaving around you? And that is something which helps in preparing a child, in shaping up your minds. And that also, to my mind, schools provide that platform where, or I would say provide wings, strong wings for students to fly and soar high. So I always say dream big, and get up in the morning and pursue those dreams. One of the quote which also I like very much, and that is, dreams have no expiry date. So if you have dreamt something and you have not achieved, just sit back, take a pause, start again. But for that, you must be fully prepared.
Yes, sir.
You must be fully prepared to tap on the opportunity. When we say, so and so guy is very lucky, no, because that guy was fully prepared to tap on the opportunity when it knocked on the door. And this is again, I'm just trying to recollect. During our times, वो बोलते थे opportunity comes once or twice. It'll knock it at you once, at best twice. And this is something again which I read somewhere, which said opportunities are like a bus stop. Standing on a bus stop, a bus comes. If you miss that out, 10 minutes later another bus is coming. So the opportunities will keep coming in your life. You have to be fully prepared to tap those. And I'm sure the teachers at Satya School, under Manisha's leadership, they are making sure that we are not only providing you a very strong platform, but we are also preparing you for a very, very bright future.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Sir, a bit of a departure from the education side of things, I wanted to ask you something more on the business side. So, given that there has been an exponential rise of OTT platforms, so sir, how has that particularly affected Airtel? And I also wanted to ask that given competitors, especially Jio, they're launching their own music streaming platforms, content streaming, OTTs and all that. So have you ever felt the need that you need to pivot to something different maybe or something new?
No, I think first of all, when we look at OTT, it's not just impacting Airtel. I mean, that's an ecosystem which is here to stay. And the only thing which I believe that there needs to be a level playing field. That's all what we are saying. Having said that, we at Airtel took that decision very early that we will partner with the best rather than creating your own content. So if you see, Airtel is into partnering with everyone, and our job is to bring the best experience, services, products for our consumers, and that is a very strong ecosystem which we have built at Airtel.
Right, so this is the thing you were talking about, where you bring the best experience and you put the best things together. What came to my mind was Airtel Extreme, which was something I thought was a bit of a path breaker, in the sense that there was not a set-top box that was bringing all the apps together. You had smart TVs or you had TVs that had cable, but something that it combined both of them into getting a set-top box. You can watch your TV as well, and then it's smart as well. So I think that was particularly in that sense.
Right. So, if you see, the technology is developing at a pace like never before. During our time when I was your age, technology disruption was once in 10, 15, 20 years. My generation has seen it all. You live in a very different world and a different era, where at the tap of a button you can get information globally, whatever you want. We've seen a radio, a transistor, a record player, a cassette player. All this came during our lives. There was no television. Television came black and white. Color television came. So we've seen, I think much more than any generation. But my belief also is that we are going to now see technology disruption every 5 years, and probably during our lifetime every 3 years. And that is one big challenge which the country faces, which the academic institutions must realize, that we need to keep on revising our curriculum, content, to make sure that our kids, when they pass out of school and universities and colleges, they are ready to be employed. Their employability must be very, very high. And that is something which we are very, very cognizant of at Bharti, at Airtel. In fact, Airtel has been the first to launch, the anti-spam alerts, AI-based tools. And I can tell you, billions of calls, alerts have been sent, hundreds of millions of SMSs were blocked, and I think that is the ethical use of technology. So when we see AI, when we talk of generative AI, there are huge positives and there are huge negatives on the other side. And that is where, when you see more technology coming in, the cyber crimes going up, and I think that is where I believe that all the countries globally need to partner together, have stricter rules and regulations to make sure that we have ethical use of technology.
Definitely.
So speaking of technology, the Teachers app was something launched by your foundation, and that's such a significant step towards digital learning and everything. So what is the vision behind that?
So this was something which was on my mind for a long time, that while we are running schools and we are partnering as we speak about 1,000 plus government schools on a quality support program, how do we scale this up for a country like India? And how do we reach out to the students or teachers who are in the rural hinterland? You are blessed. You are sitting in the National Capital Region. You are studying in amongst the best schools in the country. But there are kids who are not getting all that. So as we were looking at what should be doing, what I observed, that there were a lot of apps which were for students.
Yes.
The Khan Academy, Hello English, Doubtnut, and many more. But for teachers, there was there was a huge, gap. While we have Diksha, we have Swayam, launched by the Government of India, Ministry of Education, there were one or two other apps, teacher apps in the market. And I felt that is one area. And given our experience of hiring teachers in villages and then training them, and there's an ongoing training which goes on, there's a dire need how to really support and help the teaching community. The same experience was at the quality support program when we were going into the government schools. How to plan a lesson, how to plan an academic calendar, what needs to be looked at, needs of the students through the year and have events and all. That was a huge gap. And that is something which, with our own experience at the Satya Bharti schools, we've taken them into the government schools quality support program. And their schools are very different now. They talk of leadership, they talk of external public speaking, they talk of sports, libraries, labs, everything. So then we decided that we should look at an app. And coming from Bharti Airtel Foundation, it was something which we were looking at technology enabled. Otherwise, how do you take it across the length and breadth of the country? So we decided to work on an app for teachers. The teacher app was already there in the market pre-COVID, which was being run by an entrepreneur, and he had shut it down during the COVID times, and it was just lying dormant. So we had a chat with Vineet. We sort of talked to him, and so the existing content needed really upgrade on that. And once we started working on this, I found there are many other partners who had content or who were already doing the teacher modules and teacher content in their apps, and they came to us and said, we are ready to be part of your initiative as long as you are not going commercial. And this is one app which is going to be free for teachers all through, and there's going to be no charge. So when we started working, and that the initial content, about 200 hours, sort of got refreshed, more content was built. So the teacher app, which was launched recently, it is up to primary level. So pedagogic skills, how to deliver a lecture, how to prepare for a lesson, and we also put all our learnings at the Satya Bharti school into the app. So the teacher can say, class 4 history, this is what I need to do. You go, and there are content videos which helps you and prepare you to go and take the class, which in a very simple way. If I would say it's in a way training also. In addition to that, there are certified programs. So every teacher can start, going through that program. So you learn, you answer questions, and at the end of the program, you get certified. So we ran this pilot with about almost 70,000-80,000 teachers in the country, Jammu, and my own schools, Satya Bharti schools, and that was something that feedback was coming. So today, when we launched the teacher app, which is the second version 2, it has a bot, it has a community platform. So any teacher who does something different or innovative, he or she can post it, and that becomes available to the entire teaching community who's logged on. So you can share, you can learn from each other. So that becomes a very huge program. You can train yourself, certify yourself, so those certificates are available for the teacher. And then you are also looking at the entire curriculum content for up to primary level, including the teaching learning material, the TLM. And the next phase will be to take it to elementary, class 8. and then finally to K-12. It will be the CBSE board. So the work is going on, and we are getting some very, very good reviews on that.
So I want to ask you something that's a little different to this. Is that so recently we felt that there has been a wave of the startup ecosystem, right? We're seeing everywhere nowadays that everyone wants to be an entrepreneur. Then wo thoda media maybe it's getting more glorified, I would feel. Shark Tank in India and things like that as well. So what is your opinion? Is that a very positive thing, or is there some negative aspects to it?
No, I think this is very, very positive. Today, India has the third largest startup ecosystem in the world. And this talks about youthful energy. This talks about innovation, ideation of young minds. And my God, I mean, every time I see a different startup, they have thought of something which is trying to make lives easy for the users. So, to me, this is something which is hugely positive. And we are going to continue seeing this thing happening. We will continue to see unicorns coming up. One, I think, message which I want to give, because tomorrow you are also going to be part of this journey. You need to be responsible, because what's happening is when you start a new business, you do fundraising, and then you start burning cash without putting the processes, robust processes in place, without financial, if I may say, responsibility on mind, because it's not someone's money, it is your money which you have raised. You need to see that every rupee must walk that much longer, and therefore you need to have control, right processes from the very beginning. In our enthusiasm, all those things are put on the side, and we are just running. And one day you realize, it's sort of shaking now. So I think that is something which I would say the young entrepreneurs must keep in mind. I know they want to succeed at the fastest pace, and I'm sure, I have no doubt. I mean, today's youth, the next gen, or the millennials and the zillennials, whatever we say, I mean, they are absolutely bright minds. And I think that is something which is good for India as a country, because the opportunities which we see today never existed before. In our times, it was not like this. And therefore, the youthful energy, the demographic dividend, if we can tap that in a proper manner, and they go and deliver and demonstrate that they have the zeal and enthusiasm to move forward, ultimately it is good for India as a whole. And when we say we are going to be the third largest economy very soon, 2030, so all this gets contributed as part of the GDP growth.
Yes.
And I think that ties in very wonderfully to the thing you said earlier about the values that everyone must have. I think Archie, you have one more question for sir.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, what do you have any future plans, any future dreams for our school?
For your school?
Yes.
I think that dreams you must have, the teachers must have. What I want is that this school must be the calling card for parents. And that will come if we can deliver everything in a transparent manner, in a most loving and caring manner. And of course, you have to study hard as far as the academics are concerned. Teachers have to, if I may say, toil to make sure that you are being given the right kind of education. And we have seen, I mean, after Bharti Airtel Foundation picked up the school, which is now almost going to be 3 years, there have been large initiatives. And for me, investing in sports, investing in co-curricular activities, bringing leaders of different diverse field into the school to come and interact with the students and teachers, that is something which to my mind will make sure that this school is a differentiator. And you are the brand ambassadors of Satya School. Each student is a brand ambassador, every employee, principal, to the teachers. So I think it is incumbent on you to make sure that this school has a very, very bright future. And the more you deliver, the more you perform, the better it is for the school. For us, for me, as the chairman of the governing council, I need to provide whatever is needed. But the hard work has to be done by you, the teachers, the staff, and I'm very happy that there's a team cohesiveness. The team is talking and strategizing together what needs to be done. And I mean, you've seen the infrastructure. I think we need more students to now come into classrooms. We need to fill up. That is something where we are pushing the envelope. And I have no doubt in my mind that in the near future, we will be amongst the leading school in this part of the country.
Sir, thank you so much for taking time out for this podcast. It was lovely interacting with you, and I'm sure I personally learned a lot, and I'm sure everyone here has. And
well, I'm amazed the kind of questions you've asked, and that itself, talks about you've done your homework, and you made sure that the questions were hard. But I don't know.
Too hard.
No. But lovely interacting with you, and wish you all the very best.